With all the rain we're going to see, maybe not a bad idea to invest in a quality bit of headwear. And Cassandra, I hear you have just the place.
I do.
If you need a sweet lid.
What do you know about a sweet lid? That's right, Steve. I paid a visit to one of the last traditional hat shops in the country, located right here in Milwaukee. Take a look. Tell me about McLaughlin Hays Hat Company. What's the history?
So the history really sits with my wife. 12 years ago is when we opened our doors. It all started when my wife looked at me one day in the car and said,
"What do you think of this?
What would you think about opening a hat shop?" And that's about all it took. And 30 seconds later, I looked at her and I said, "Yeah."
And this was the best question I ever asked.
So McLaughlin Hays Hat Company is one of very few traditional hat making companies left in the U.S. When it comes to headwear, anything proper headwear outside of a ball cap is what you're going to find here. The bulk of our collection of equipment actually came from Henry the Hatter, which is the nation's oldest hat shop. They opened in 1893. And there's a lot of people who are mending and making do with what they're able to find, but there's not a lot of people who have the depth of equipment that we do. So we work traditionally on 125-year-old equipment and custom make for each individual head, size, and shape.
What we're doing for you is we're doing all the math that people do not realize that comes into hat wearing. Just like when you go to your optometrist, you spend time with them to make sure the math of those eyeglasses work with you and your lifestyle. Same thing for a hat. Men's hat making tends to have very regimented things that you have to do to preserve the shape of the hats, where women's hats, you know, you have all this extra finery and things that we get to have either be simple or really crazy.
Everything from the hand tools that we use to the big, large industrial steamers, everything is either vintage or industry specific for what we do.
You, of course, have your cloche. Another hat I love to say is toque.
A toque?
A toque.
I've never heard of that.
Yes, it is just basically a crown of a hat without a brim. Fedora. People think fedoras are men's hats. They're truly unisex. So here we have a fedora that we've made, but we've taken two different silhouettes. So it's traditionally a man's crown, but then we put it on a woman's brim to get that lovely upturned shape. There are so many different styles, and that's what's fun, is that we will take you through that process.
A hat is like a haircut you get to put on every day.
Oh.
It's that fresh feeling of just feeling good enough about yourself to take on the ugliness that's in the world outside.
I need to buy a few hats after watching that. I'm showing you pictures of my hats.
I was in
head
because I'm looking at you like, definitely fedora, but you showed me if you in a Panama.
I have a Panama I wear in the summertime.
I'd follow you in the street if I saw you in that.
I'd run.
You probably should. You probably should.
Let's bring hats back.
I'm
Let's
down
work
with
on
that. I'm
Cassandra
down with that.
McShepard. All right.